I'm not trying to get sued. Everything I talk about in this video is alleged, but they declined to do this. Besties, I bet you're wishing you'd gone down that route because surely this will cost more. Hi friends, how are you? I hope that you're very, very well. Okay, let's get into it. Today we're talking about the Bridgerton the Musical lawsuit with Netflix. Bridgerton is a hit TV show based on Julia Quinn's collection of novels. It came onto Netflix in December of 2020 and it was a massive hit. Right around the time of Bridgerton coming onto Netflix, Ratatouille the Musical was huge on TikTok. If you don't know, lots of TikTok creators kind of organically started writing and creating an online TikTok musical based on the Disney Pixar film Ratatouille. That was massive on TikTok. It was trending like every day. And then in January of 2021, they held a huge online concert which included celebrities and the TikTokers themselves, and they raised over $2 million for the Actors Fund. Now, if you're thinking, why is this connected to the Bridgerton situation? Well, I'm gonna get there. So, January 2021, Bridgerton has just come out, it's huge on Netflix, and Abigail Barlow, a songwriter and TikTok creator, decided to write some songs for What If Bridgerton Was a Musical. She jumped straight in on that bandwagon and was like, Bridgerton, the next TikTok musical. I have to admit, pretty early on, it felt like Abigail Barlow and Emily Bear, who was her co-writer, kind of had a monopoly over the Bridgerton musical. Ratatouille the musical was this massive thing and was incredibly collaborative. It didn't matter how many followers you had, it didn't matter what country you were in. It was about people just coming together and creating something, whereas Bridgerton, even though some people like designed sets and costumes and choreography and stuff, it still felt like it was their thing very, very early on. When Abigail started writing, she brought her co-writer Emily Bear on to co-write and to orchestrate the music with her. They wrote a few songs and very, very quickly decided to start making an album of the songs. You know, they were very catchy, they were of characters that we all knew from the TV show, you could stitch them and sing along, and again, they started trending and going viral on TikTok. Anyway, everyone loved it. They had fans doing dream casts of Broadway people starring in Bridgerton the Musical. Shonda Rhimes, the creator of the show, and Netflix spoke about how they loved Bridgerton the Musical. It was all easy breezy, beautiful. Barlow and Bear then live streamed on TikTok their writing process, the recording process, and then in September of 2021 they released the concept album, the unofficial Bridgerton musical. Netflix at this point hadn't stood in the way of Abigail and Emily from creating the album. I think they definitely saw it as a fan project. So the concept album featured mainly Abigail Barlow singing the majority of the vocals, Emily Bear doing backup. The album had 15 songs in total and it debuted at number 36 in the Billboard charts. The two then held some charity performances of the musical as well as some other songs that they'd written. They were kind of all over the place. There was even one in London. I don't know how much was raised from those concerts and I don't know if they took a cut, but I'm sure we will find out all about that very soon if this goes to trial. The unofficial Bridgerton musical was then nominated for a Grammy Award in the musical theatre category. Barlow and Bear are the youngest nominees to ever be nominated in that category, and then they went on to win it, so they're now also the youngest winners of that category at the Grammys. It's also the very first TikTok created piece to win a Grammy Award. So it's July the 26th this year, 2022, and Barlow and Bear are holding a performance at the Kennedy Center in Washington. But the difference this time was that the show was not for charity, and tickets were selling from $29 to $149 plus VIP add-on extras. They also had booked in to perform at the Royal Albert Hall in London as well, again with tickets well over £100 per person. Then a couple of weeks ago, Netflix took legal action against Barlow and Bear for alleged theft of intellectual property. I'm not trying to get sued. Everything I talk about in this video is alleged. Do you know what's not alleged though? That Burn For You is a bop. That's not alleged. That's a certified fact. Netflix said after repeat objections to the concerts that were not for charity and further development and selling of merchandise with the Bridgerton name, they filed the lawsuit against Barlow and Bear. Netflix says that what started out as a fun fan project is now blatant theft of intellectual property and is being used for financial gain for Barlow and Bear. Back in March 2021, only 3 months after Bridgerton had been released and Abigail had posted the first video, they actually did did get lawyers to contact Netflix and say, could they proceed with charity performances and a concept album? Netflix said that they wouldn't endorse it, but they wouldn't stand in their way. It seems to me like a bit of a rookie error because it makes the waters kind of murky, but I don't think they expected it to get as big as it did. Listen, maybe I'm a conspiracy theorist. I thought this from the very first time I saw that very first video of Abigail Barlow with her pink hair saying, what if Bridgerton was a musical? Personally, I think that Barlow and Bear were writers and they wanted to find something that was going to be the next big thing. I think that they saw Ratatouille, the musical, saw what a success it was and thought, we can do that. And they thought, we're going to find the next big thing and turn that into a musical. Like, it's a smart idea. I think they were intending it to be huge from the very beginning. I actually also think it had nothing to do with it being Bridgerton. I feel like if Squid Games had come out at the right time when Ratatouille the musical was blowing up and going viral, I think we could have been talking about Squid Games the musical right now. Just saying. Maybe I'm a conspiracy theorist, but I've literally always thought it. Anyway, Netflix say they were okay with the creation of the concept album and charity events, but when the show is being sold for profit, then that's when they say it's not okay. And I have to admit, I am on Netflix's side here. So I have seen a lot of people say that because Barlow and Bear are commercializing the product, that means it's not fair use anymore. Whether something is commercial or not commercial, it is part of fair use analysis, but it's not the only part. So fair use analysis looks at the purpose of the work. Is it for profit? What is the amount of copyrighted material it uses? And the nature of the work, how transformative is it, and how the work might economically impact the original. There are lots of fan created works that have gone through a lawsuit and gone to court and been determined to be fair use, although there isn't actually a lot of like case law and precedent because the majority of these kinds of lawsuits actually get settled before they go to court. So it will be interesting to see how Barlow and Bear respond to the lawsuit. There is a very big non-commercialization norm in fan created work. And although Barlow and Bear did write the music and it's very good, it doesn't take away the fact that they didn't create the story, they didn't create the characters, and they are profiting off the marketing and the popularity of the Bridgerton name from it being on the world's biggest streaming service. So bringing it back to Ratatouille, the reason why it didn't come into a question of whether that was fair use or not is because Disney decided not to sue. I think the fact that it was very clearly a one-off for charity, bringing people all over the world together, I think that's why Disney decided not to sue and not to go down the legal route. Disney said, although we don't have development plans for the title, we love when our fans engage with Disney stories. They said, we applaud and thank all of the online theatre creators for helping to benefit the Actors Fund in this unprecedented time of need. And the Ratatouille the musical creators didn't pursue it further after that concert, whereas Barlow and Bear kind of got on that train and have been riding it hard, baby. And like I say, I do think that this was all somewhat planned. Obviously, you can't plan a viral video, but I think they understood the market, I think they understood the algorithm, and I think they understood what would be popular, and they went for it. Hats off to them. It can't have been easy. So in 2009, students at the University of Michigan wrote and performed a Harry Potter musical, a parody of the Harry Potter books, starring Darren Criss. And when the group called Star Kid, who I'm sure you will have heard of, uploaded a video of the performance on YouTube just for their friends, it went viral enough for Warner Brothers to pay attention. Though the Harry Potter copyright holder never actually sued Star Kid, many of them have spoken about the agreement that they came to with Warner Brothers to avoid legal action, to never charge admission for any Harry Potter related performances. Darren Criss, funnily enough, has performed some of the Bridgerton songs with Abigail Barlow, which I think is interesting. Like, I would be so fascinated to know if he talked about, you know, writing something based on pre-existing work, the legal side of it. Did he not give her any tips on, like, saying, hey, don't sell your tickets for profit, by the way, because you might get sued? Basically, as soon as Barlow and Bear began to profit off their Bridgerton inspired songs, that's when they became a target for Netflix. Is turning a TV show into a musical transformative enough for it to be considered fair use? That's for a judge to decide. And the thing is that you want to make something that is truly transformative rather than just translating it into a different medium, which is essentially what Barlow and Bear have done here. They've just transferred Bridgerton into a musical rather than it being something completely different, just using the names, if that makes sense. So Barlow and Bear's legal team have not yet responded. It has been over a week. Abigail Barlow, Emily Bear have not posted anything on social media yet. Honestly, I keep checking because I live for the drama. They could settle with Netflix, or they might decide to take it to court and try their luck against Netflix. In Netflix's complaint, they do nod to a potential economic loss, which could become relevant in a case against fair use. So Netflix does nod to a potential economic loss due to the unofficial Bridgerton musical. To capitalise on the popularity of the TV show, they have produced an event called the Queen's Ball and Bridgerton Experience. It's basically like in various cities there are Regency era balls that you can dress up and go to, and it's like living in Bridgerton or whatever. And according to Netflix, the unofficial musical undermines the company's ability to host in-person immersive Bridgerton experiences. Also, they held one at the Kennedy Center. Netflix have basically been like, so what? People turn up to the Kennedy Center thinking they're going to the Bridgerton experience. They see the unofficial Bridgerton musical. They just see Bridgerton name. Do they go over that way? Do they then think, I'll go and see the musical rather than the ball I've got a ticket to? It's direct competition with itself in the same venue. Like, come on, girls. Netflix have said that they objected about the Kennedy Center and Royal Albert Hall performances and selling of merch for some time rather than like just immediately. And it does appear that after Barlow and Bear made that initial inquiry in March of 2021, they seem to kind of have ignored when Netflix has then reached out to them. So part of my job in real life is looking at royalties and licenses in performance, and there is a lot of money in it, like a lot of money on it. Netflix have said that they told Barlow and Bear they would sell Bridgerton royalties to them so that they could go ahead and create the show. So it would allow Barlow and Bear to use the Bridgerton name and pay a percentage to Netflix. But they declined to do this. Besties, I bet you're wishing you'd gone down that route because surely this will cost more. Netflix has faced a lot of financial strain recently, and they've spoken quite publicly about like subscriber loss. So I understand that for a show to use a name, not pay royalties, and potentially then take fans away from going to in-person events around Bridgerton, or also a person's first experience of Bridgerton being coming across the musical, not enjoying it, and then being put off watching the show, it does make sense that they're a bit pissed off. I would be so interested to know your thoughts on this. I am fascinated. What do you think is going to happen? Do you like Bridgerton the musical? Do you agree with my conspiracy theory? Did any of you go and see the show? Did you have tickets for the Royal Albert Hall performance? I presume that's now been cancelled. Will Barlow and Bear be charged by Royal Albert Hall for a cancelled show? Will they have the performance insurance to cover that? I'm fascinated. At the end of the day, I don't think they did this maliciously. I think they've just let it get away from themselves. But it will be really interesting to see what happens, and I can't wait to hear everybody's thoughts. I can't wait to see what happens. I feel like one day you could write a TV show about this, and I would definitely watch it on Netflix. And then I'd turn it into a musical. Anyway, I'll see you next time. I love you lots. Bye!